This review is on the movie An Acceptable Loss. I'm the end guy. I'm going to tell you like it is. The director, screenwriter, and the story was by Joe Chappelle. The cast of the film An Acceptable Loss was... The film was about Elizabeth Lamb, played by Tika Sumpter. Elizabeth's nickname is Libby, and she was the National Security Affairs Advisor to the Vice President, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. During the intense meeting with the Vice President and other high officials, they called Libby to voice her opinion from the information that was gathered. The vital information Libby was given was there will be 5 leaders of the terrorist organizations, and Dr. Vodad, a nuclear scientist whose main purpose is to destroy the world, will be in the same town as of 150,000 people on the same date. And they asked Libby, was this information true, and do you agree with the Vice President's suggestion? The answer she gave changed her life forever. 4 years later, we find Libby as an intelligent, athletic, strong, self-assured, armed woman. Libby being a former security analyst and foreign policy guru, she was hired at a university for a semester to teach a class titled Understanding Contemporary Warfare. A student takes notice in her and starts looking into Libby's bio. He finds some disturbing information about Libby that goes against his religious beliefs, so he takes it upon himself to do an all-out surveillance on her. He discovers she is writing a memoir on the decision she made 4 years ago and the consequences. One night, the student broke into Libby's house knowing she had a night class for 2 hours. During Libby's class at night, she was confronted by a longtime friend who is still working for the government and asked her if she is still on the team she was 4 years ago. Since he was a good friend of Libby's and asked that certain question, it disturbed Libby so much she canceled her class. Going home early that night, she found the student in her safe and looking at her memoirs. With her gun pointed at him, she asked him, "What the hell are you doing?" The film is 141 minutes long, and at midway point, I thought the film reached its climax. I wondered, what in the world are they going to do for the next 70 minutes? Well, the film took care of itself, and the ending of the film is a good enough to watch. The film's storyline was steady. It didn't go too slow or too fast. The performances by all characters were okay, and their acting never took me out of the story. The way the film portrayed the giant catastrophe was subtle. The film showed us choices by a few which affected thousands. Also, the movie did not push too hard to acknowledge the devastating circumstances in what happens to people's lives after making one decision during wartime. For your information only, every time Libby writes in her memoir, there's a flashback in time where she was talking to Jamie Lee Curtis, the vice president at the time. Out of 10, I give this film a 6.1. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And when I say thank you for subscribing, it's just not offhand. I really mean it. Thank you. Thank you so much.